welcome to Bool Boys Pod, take 2. We had a little snafu there. Steve's echo cancellation wasn't on, and it just reminded me of, those intros that I sometimes do for like, oh, this is what we're going to talk about on the pod, and Steve's going to do this. You know how many times I have to record those? It'll be like, I'll get to like the second part, and it'll be like, I'll mispronounce a word, and then I'll just oh, fuck. And then I have to hit stop on the record, and then I'll keep doing it over and over and over again. And it takes me like 5 or 6 tries to get these 2-minute intros. It's ridiculous. I don't know why I'm complaining to start off this.
The solo.
Steve, how are you?
Good. I would agree. Like when you're doing a solo pod segment, I feel like because you're talking into the void, it's like much more noticeable to yourself when you're like, oh, I fucked up there. I've mispronounced this
That's
word.
exactly
like,
how I end every one of those recordings. Oh, I fucked up, and then just hit the stop record. But yeah, it also felt like odd not having you and Brian there because you had some family stuff. Brian was moving to LA and had a busy week at work, so we didn't have a pod last week. And I was going to do a Euro preview before the tournament started, and I'm like, I'm just talking to myself in a video. It doesn't seem that dank. Honestly, I have a lot of respect for content creators now. It's very difficult.
I agree.
But let's get back to it. Euros happened. We are now basically almost done with the first round. Copa started. We are basically one game throughout the tournament, throughout all the teams. And so Steve is back. We're going to talk about the European soccer tournament in Copa America. First, overall, what were your thoughts and impressions on Euro? It's been going on for longer.
It's very enjoyable when I'm not having to struggle through Scotland. I've thought it's one of the best tournaments I've ever seen, honestly. There's so many good matches. Matches I'm not expecting to be bangers are bangers. And I've kind of like enjoyed watching it without a heavy emphasis on tactics. It's kind of just like simple football at its core, I feel like, because these teams aren't together as much. So like the tactics aren't grounded into them as much. I mean, there's certain things you do see with teams, but for the most part, I just feel like there's good, solid play a lot of the times. Maybe some of the games aren't the highest quality, but you're just seeing a lot of even matches.
It's been the way I would describe it. It's been a little bit sloppy, and because it's a little bit sloppy, there's like a little more room for error and a room for great things to happen. And this rigidness that like Pep and Mikel have kind of hallmarked as the new way to play is not really trickled down to European football yet. And so it's cool. I get what you're saying completely. There's been a lot of I think the biggest thing for the tournament as a whole is that a lot of these lower tier teams are getting results that they should not get, making it really dank. I guess one of the big ones was England. Let's do this. There's 4 or 5 favorites, I would say, for the Euros. Let's talk about them in particular. And then like what I said 3 things basically per team. How far do you think they'll go? Who do you think the X factor is? And like what's the struggle for the team, either tactically or coaching, personalities? For Portugal, it might not be tactical, it might be dealing with a huge ego up front. Like
your boy.
My boy, I love him. You see that pass, by the way? Like
that was an awful match, though. Are you talking about against Turkey?
Yeah.
I felt like right? Turkey basically gift wrapped 3 goals with horrific sloppy play. And I was really looking forward to that match. I set my alarm in my hotel room to wake up, because I think that was a 6 a.m. match, right?
I don't remember what time it was, to be honest.
It might have been the 9 a.m. I made sure to be awake for it, and when I woke up early on, I saw that backwards pass straight into the goal, and I was like, oh god. Like, Turkey have kind of... They may have felt themselves a little too much after the Georgia result, and it seems like Arda Güler is kind of like beefing with the manager, and it's not great.
Not a great look to beef with Carlo Ancelotti over playing time, and then to beef with your national team coach as a 19-year-old.
He's like the best. He's the future so of the team. Yeah.
When I see him, and then I think of like, oh, they have Mbappe coming. Real Madrid's got Mbappe coming, and then they have Endrick as well, and then they have Rodrigo as well. Like, there's not enough spots. Somebody has to go.
He has to get loaned out, I think.
Endrick, of course. Endrick's a couple years away. Even Arda Güler is probably a year or 2 away, but he's scoring in La Liga already, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So the kind of structure for this part of the pod is we're going to talk about the 4 or 5 favorites, like I mentioned. Then we'll move to surprises of the Euros because, like I mentioned, there's been a lot of upsets, a lot of players underperforming. Some people we thought would kind of make their name have not done so. And then we'll shift to Copa because we're in the first week, and I know Steve's watched more of it. I'll kind of let him lead that, and he'll tell us like why we should care about certain things in the Copa and who we should care about in the Copa. I think is a fair summary of that tournament. So let's start with I'll start with the betting odds for before the tournament for the 5 Euro teams that were had the highest odds. It was England, it was France, it was Germany, and it was Portugal, and Spain, rounding out number 5. So when you see these teams, there's Germany's obviously doing well, Portugal's doing well, France is kind of struggling. They'll probably go through, but Mbappe obviously broke his nose, and then England's the real big one, real meaty subject to talk about because they have not been great. And then Spain, I think, surprisingly has been.
I would agree.
I didn't peg them to be this good this soon. I don't know what you thought about Spain.
They feel a little ahead of schedule. They've been really impressive. Italy, to me, in that group, I thought would probably finish first, and Italy honestly looked really bad today. They barely snuck through. I felt so bad for Croatia. Like that was the most brutal thing I've seen in a tournament in a while. Bad for Modric, obviously, but yeah, Spain to me, I would say, are like of the elite contender teams are the big surprise because they just look so solid, and they're young.
They're young. That's the nail on the head. They are shifting out of like the intermediary generation between the Xavi, Busquets, Iniesta. Then they had the Rodri and like Koke, your boy, right? They kind of shepherd the next era. And now they have Pedri and Gavi, and so like them and plus the wings, Nico Williams, Ferran Torres, and stuff like they're really amazing. And more than anything, they're so different than how they used to play. Like they don't mind giving the ball away. They can take a shot from far, and it's like, oh, you might miss it, and it's okay to give the ball back, which is like a huge no-no from those Xavi era teams. So I really enjoy watching them play. So let's go through the list. Let's start with Spain, I guess. So how far do you see them going first? You have 2-3 games of data, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at the draw of who they would face in the knockout stages. I could see them getting to a semifinal, though, depending on who they have to play. I mean, they really do look like maybe they could even get to the final. I don't remember exactly how the bracket looks off the top of my head, but like I said, they look like the strongest team so far. I mean, maybe Germany looks a little stronger, but yeah, I think Spain, they do have a good shot of going pretty deep in this tournament.
So I brought the knockout bracket up, and it looks like Germany, Spain, and Portugal are on one side of the bracket. Their teams,
that's pretty
they're going
rough.
to play are still, yeah. Other side, we have Switzerland playing Italy so far. That's the only thing that's confirmed. So yeah, they have.
I see it now too.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough side of the draw, but I do think it will be. I wanted to say Germany and Spain were kind of the best teams, but I think it'll be Germany and Portugal in the semifinals there. But yeah, I think semifinals is about appropriate for them. What do you think about their like X factor? Who's gonna, if they really pop off this tournament, who's gonna get all the laudits?
Well, I mean, people are gonna gravitate towards Yamin Lamal because he's so young and he's playing pretty well. I think the more like realistic answer, I think Williams has been tremendous for them. I don't know, Torres was very good today. I don't know, who do you think the X factor is? Because what I see is just like a lot of solid players coming together, melding as one, basically.
Obviously, Rodri is the reason why they can even exist.
Yeah, that's probably true.
If they don't have Rodri and they have a slightly subpar CDM, I think they could cut open constantly. But I think you just kind of take Rodri's performance as is, and I think if Pedri can stay healthy, that's who I would say. Because Fabian Ruiz is good, but I just think he's not special. Fabian Ruiz is just a very, very good player, whereas I kind of think Pedri is special.
That's true, and Pedri hasn't been fit for a while, so it's kind of like a welcome return. It seems like he's like the breakout star for them in a lot of ways.
And Spain did what I thought Germany would do. Is this today Spain played their second tier players basically. or people who didn't start the first 2 games for the most part. I saw Grimaldo play. I saw Ferran Torres get a start.
Yeah.
So like Germany played their exact same starting lineup. I was surprised. But for me, when I looked at the lineup before Spain, what I thought would be a very interesting tactical like choice would be: would you choose Grimaldo coming off a great season at Bayer Leverkusen at left back, or would you choose Cucurella, who's been hit and miss at Chelsea? They have made the decision that for sure it's going to be Cucurella for at least
Yes,
the first
they
2
have.
games. So I don't know. I liked what I saw from Grimaldo. I didn't watch all of the game, but he seemed fine today. I think he's a better player, but I don't
Cucurella's
know.
been pretty good for them though in this tournament. Surprisingly, like I kind of agreed with you, but sometimes you just get a player who plays better in the national team structure than they do for their club. And I mean, Chelsea are a mess, so like it's not shocking that he wouldn't be
He had some
showing
very
up
good
there.
games for them at the end. Like
Yeah,
he was. I think he stopped. Who was it? They played like, was it City or I think they played Tottenham, and he basically stopped Son, and I was like, okay, he I kind of thought he was a joke, but he's a good player. Let's move up the line to Portugal next. Portugal, I see their lineup, and I think the X factor is whether Bruno is able to play. Like they're playing 2 center mids, and I'm just curious if he's able to a double. Like they're playing 3 at the back, but then they have 2 center mids above them, and he's playing one of the like deeper line positions. And I know he, like, I've seen from United that he just has no intention of like tactical discipline defensively. So I wonder if he's able to do that in a structured international team formula. What do you think?
I mean, so far they look solid. I think it's going to be hard to judge Portugal until the knockout rounds
Mm-hmm.
because in that group they clearly should finish top of that group. I thought Turkey was going to be their hardest challenge, and like we talked about to open, Turkey really shit the bed in like historical fashion. Um, I just think, yeah, Portugal has always been this team that has so many solid players, and they don't always gel. And there might be a reason why they don't gel.
You're
Um,
clairvoyant, man. Yeah.
yeah, um, Pep is 40. He's like 41 now, right? And it seems like he's kind of like the guy who's holding it together with his leadership. And I'll see how long that lasts. I'm obviously a little bit biased because I've watched so much Porto over the years because of Taremi.
Mhm.
I grew to love Pep in his later years, and it's going to be interesting to see what shakes out as
Is
they
he
get
is
to
he
the
going
knockout
by
stage.
Pep? Is that what his name is?
It's yeah. People always when I hear it, they call him Pepe on our broadcasts, but I read like it is. I read him say it's Pep actually.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
You heard it here first on What's Pod. Nice.
If you Google it, yeah, it's Pep. Because Porto has a Pepe and they have a Pep too. The Pep is the like the legendary one.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, I was saying you're clairvoyant because you had exactly what I said. I like when I look at their team, I see so many B and B plus players, and there's so many B and B plus players on the bench. I'm just saying if you can consolidate some of those into like A quality players, or you make the right decisions on who to bring off the bench to change the game, they can go far. And so, like their bench is stacked. It was amazing. And so for me, I think they're going to make a deep run. I think semifinals is for them minimum. And I know that's contrary because I don't think anyone really had Portugal as like they had a strong team for sure, and they're a top 5 favorite, but I don't think anyone talked to them at the level of England or France. I'm kind of elevating that status.
it's they do have a difficult quarterfinal because they'll play either the Netherlands or Austria, likely I think. So that's not super easy, you know.
Will they play Austria or Netherlands? Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Netherlands
yeah.
is another team that has surprised me in how like quality their roster is and stuff. But yeah,
I think they have a very difficult match. I think it's tomorrow.
they'll get second or first with France, right? I think it's
Second or
pretty decided.
yeah, they could finish anywhere from first, second, or third. I think
Okay.
because they play Austria tomorrow. Austria are a very surprise. Well, not really because they were in great form coming into it, but
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't
People are
think
talking
people
about
thought they would
Austria.
compete to this level.
Okay, let's move on to Germany. Unless you have anything else for Portugal. I mean, I guess another line of consideration is: do they persist with Ronaldo if he doesn't score? Because he does absolutely. I love him, but he does absolutely nothing off the ball. So, like, can you persist playing international football if you're not scoring and you're playing defense with 10 men? I don't know.
No, I don't know that it's a great idea.
Germany, surprisingly, I didn't really peg them as a strong team. They're getting a little
I
hometown bonus.
kind of
Look at the
called
roster;
that.
it's not that strong, dude. Come on, like
I think
it's
it's a pretty strong roster, and I also just felt like they had their crisis point, and when you have your crisis point early enough before you're hosting a major tournament, your
it's true.
federation is, especially one that's as solid as Germany's federation is gonna figure it out and make sure they don't shit the bed in historic fashion when you do get the time that you're the host of a major tournament.
I think it's credit to Nagelsmann too. I actually think he's a very
He's a great
elite
manager.
coach. Yeah, he's an elite manager, and so he's managed to fix it. For me, the line of considerations I had were like, who do they play at left back and who do they play at six? And it seems like they're going with this Andrich fellow.
Yeah, he's been pretty
Cruz,
solid.
yeah, he's been pretty good. He's sitting, and so and Leroy Sané off the bench. I think he's a very good player, and hometown boost. Maybe he can change a game off the bench. I also have them going to semifinals. So one side of my bracket is Germany and Portugal.
I would have if that was the thing. I think I would have Germany battering Portugal in the semifinal. Honestly,
Germany has to get through Spain though. So do you think they'll get
I
through
think
Spain?
Germany will get through Spain. Also, I think Germany are
Okay.
destined to go pretty far.
Okay. So if you think that, then and you think that okay, they have to beat either Netherlands or Portugal, I think they would be happy to avoid France or England
I would
before
say
the
so.
tournament. Before the tournament, they'd have been happy to avoid those teams. Okay. Moving up, France. What do you think about France? I'll let you go first.
It's disjointed, but it also just kind of reminds their defense is solid. I think defense is kind of what takes you far in a tournament like this, so it's good that they're showing that early on. I still would probably have them pegged as like the ultimate favorite to win the whole thing. I'm still. I feel like when they lost Mbappe for the last match, it kind of they were disjointed in their attack, but they're just a solid squad when you look up and down. And like I said, their defensive shape is pretty solid. I do think I would still, yeah, like I said, I think if I were to pick a team to win the whole thing, I'd probably go with France.
Me too. I had them as champions. I think they come through on the side of the bracket. My hesitation is to Champs. I don't think he's getting the most out of his team. I think he's playing like he wouldn't play Saliba, and he finally
Yeah,
got the idea, and then he's playing him on the left side, and then he doesn't know what to do with his double pivot. To me, it should be clearly like Tchouaméni and Conte. If Conte's playing like Conte's playing, sure you have to play him. But then he's not played Camavinga yet. I think Camavinga is at this stage of his career might be a better left back than Theo Hernandez, or one of the Hernandezes who's
I
playing
think
left back.
Teo's been pretty good though in
He's been
the
pretty
build up.
good, but
Yeah,
he gives what I like from Camavinga is he gives this drive, like a Marcelo like drive from the left back to get ahead. And they're just so good at running like and covering ground, France. That's the thing I see about them is like, yeah, you have Tchouaméni at the base, but then Conte is everywhere, and then all their players are running everywhere. Saliba covers so much ground. So I'm just curious. He's persisting with Rabiot, Adrian
Rabiot.
Rabiot.
Yeah,
I remember he was an Arsenal target, and I thought, oh, this is a nice looking player. And then I heard about his mom as his manager, and it's just been she's a huge bust apparently.
I don't know anything about this.
So
This sounds like
it's
something that our fan base would get hyper focused on though, and I don't mean that as a credit to Arsenal fans. As an
that's
Arsenal
true.
fan,
That's true. I don't think it's Arsenal fans. I think it was just me. So there you go.
No, I could. Yeah, it does seem like something I could see on Arsenal Twitter. People bitching about his mother and being like, "Oh my god, like we can't do this. We have to be
after he denies
more
us, yes.
classy than this."
I think the other thing is that Dembele's kind of been running on fumes.
Yeah,
He had those 2 goals in the Barca Champions League matchup, and he hasn't really scored since, and he hadn't really scored before then either. So he's kind of running off that, and I think Barcola is supposed to be like one of the great talents. Kilomani is supposed to be a great talent. Like you have options there, and you can put even Griezmann there if you wanted to, and play another center mid if you wanted to. So
what was there? Because it felt like for sure, yeah, Griezmann. I love the guy. He had a really rough game against the Netherlands. Not all of it was his fault, but he missed a lot of good chances, I would say, in like
They're
shocking fashion.
I know. I mean, we can do a sidebar on Netherlands is that they're like very athletic and technically more technically sound, and I wonder what they would have been like with FDJ if he had not been injured and playing at center mid, or what that would have done for them. But can't say for sure now. Um, Anything else on France?
No, I think we touched on everything.
Okay, then just England. Um, Disaster. I think I deserve some credit for calling this throughout, like the lead up to Euros, that Southgate was not a good manager. I
I
think
don't think
it's.
he's a bad manager, though. I think it's a little bit reductive.
Do you think his X's and O's are on the level of like a Roberto Martinez or
Roberto
Ronald
Martinez,
Koeman?
maybe.
Ronald
Coleman,
Koeman.
no.
Like
Martinez, I think I'm kind of in the I don't know with him.
Belgium doesn't do that well.
No, he's not. Belgium has a different manager now, though.
Oh yeah, right. Roberto Martinez is Portugal. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
right?
he's Portugal.
Yeah.
Belgium has Tedesco, who I'm. You don't get me started on Dominic Tedesco.
Okay.
He was at Schalke, and I wanted to kill him towards the end.
So, but overall, an arching theme is like poor managers, or like maybe not poor managers, but just a lack of cohesion that makes us blame the managers. It could be something else, but it's happening for like France. It's happening for England and stuff. But the big thing has been the Foden dilemma. Where do you play Foden versus Bellingham? And then Trent versus Walker. Those are the two main things people complain about when they talk about England. What do you think? What's the right
So
answer?
I thought England. When I was heading into the tournament. It's the worst nightmare as a Scotland fan to be like England's gonna win this tournament. Like you do, it's like your biggest fear. And I was finally like ready to accept it. And then I looked at their bench and I was like, I actually don't think they're that good. Like I don't think their depth is that solid. I don't really understand why. What's the lad's name? I'm trying to remember right now.
Gordon?
Why am I forgetting this? Why is Jared Bowen getting so many minutes? Like, why is he one of the first subs? He's a good player, but like at this stage, I'm not at this level. I'm not sure he's like really world class.
He's not.
No, he playing Trent out of position. It was a cool little experiment. It clearly isn't working. Foden seems to be a player that really needs the pep structure to thrive. At this stage of his career, he's obviously very talented. I like Foden, but something about this setup isn't working for him. You're seeing players like Bellingham, who like is clearly just very wise beyond his years for a player of his caliber, thrive because he's good for this type of open play. I'd say where there's not a lot of structure. They should be better, but it's not shocking to me when I see what their subs are. I think there's been a lot of like over criticism of Harry Kane. I thought Harry Kane was actually decent in the last match, and people got hyper focused on things he wasn't doing rather than things he was doing. Declan has been okay.
Not his best.
No, I think we get because the Premier League is like the premier English language league. I think we tend to overrate a lot of these players.
You say that, but then okay. So is anything else? Because I want to. There's one point you said there, and I actually kind of disagree because we saw in the overlap. Like I think Carragher said, you have the Player of the Year in England, you have the Player of the Year in Spain, and you have the Player of the Year in Germany, right? For each of the
Yeah,
respective
sort of.
leagues. Yeah.
No, I
So
wouldn't say that those three are overrated though. But I
I'm
feel
not. I'm
like
not
a
saying
lot
they're
of
overrated at all.
yeah,
No. And I wouldn't say I agree with you. I don't think Kane's the problem. I think it's a system problem. Kane,
yeah,
he's at this point of his career, he wants to drop deep, and guess who's there? There's two players already competing for that space, like beneath you. And
yeah,
so, for me, I do think part of it is for Foden. Let's start with Foden. Foden, maybe 50% of it is he needs the pep system. I think 50% of it is him and Bellingham are like stepping on each other's toes, and
probably.
so they play the same, like in the same areas, and so this insistence on playing Trent, who's he's a good passer, of course, but to me, what I would have done is I would have put Rice at the 6, sure. I would have put like Gallagher, or I would have put apparently there's this kid from Aston Villa, Warden, the CDM or something, and let Rice
Yeah,
go
Wharton.
like let the Rice go because apparently Warden's a good player. And then that's how you make your bench better: is you bring Trent off the bench, or you start Trent and then you bring Kyle Walker off the bench.
I agree
You
with
do,
that 100%.
you start Bellingham at the 10, and then you bring Foden off the bench, and then or you bring Watkins. Watkins is a good enough player to come off the bench in this type of competition. I like Watkins a lot, and so are you like you give and there's no such like sense of direction when you see certain teams play. There's this tilt, like, oh, we're going to go down the right because Saka's going to be like for Arsenal. Everything's going to go down the right, and everyone's going to shift, and everyone knows where they're supposed to go. And for them, like you said, it's this huge open system, and I just can't see a way where you can't blame Southgate for this because I do think what he for the last two tournaments he's created like this brotherhood, and that I I strongly believe that this brotherhood is like kind of let him down because he brought a lot of players into this brotherhood who he didn't end up using in this tournament and couldn't use. Like Maguire's a big one. Henderson, he held on to Henderson for like one tournament too long. That's where you build the replacement next to Rice.
I
Is like
agree.
for the last 2 years and stuff. I don't know. It's like there's and then his comments after, oh, we don't have the players to press. Like
We don't have
you have the best players to press. Like I don't understand. And
we
like
don't have a natural replacement for who was it?
um
It was a bizarre statement.
I don't know. He's like his press handling has been shit too, and so I'm really enjoying Southgate's squirm. I'm not really
Me
enjoying it
too.
because I like seeing I like a lot of these English players, and if there was actually a team that I would support, I actually think I like Rice a lot. I like Bellingham a lot. Um, I can even though he's a Liverpoolian, I can see the appeal of Trent. I don't like Kane, Saka, of course. Like I love these players, and so I wouldn't be opposed if they won it, but it's just not happening. And so for me, my prediction was to wrap it all together. Is I think they actually kind of go out early. I think they go out in the quarters. I don't think they make the semis, dude.
I could see. I'm not saying that Southgate's not without blame. I think has a
Okay.
lot of blame.
Okay.
I just don't think he's like an awful manager. I think the results have proven that. I think this tournament has not been good. He's forcing people into positions that they're not comfortable with. He's trying to play talent over like fit. I'd say that's the Trent in midfield thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they go out like really early because they just seem disjointed. You never know. Like maybe the Slovenia game coming up is a get right game, but I think we're going to touch on our surprises. But Slovenia to me have been like a pleasant surprise. They've been really solid, and not that I'm saying England are going to lose the match, but it wouldn't shock me if it's a pretty tough game for them.
Especially with like the way he sits back. I think that's the biggest criticism of Southgate is that they scored both times first, right? I believe, yeah,
They
and
scored very early, yeah, against Denmark, and then I think
they
they
sat
scored,
back.
yeah.
And people are posting his heat maps of players before and after this goal, and it's like literally 10 to 15 feet back for everybody. And he's like, you're England, you can go and play and get a second goal. That was the difference I saw for who was it today? It was Belgium
No,
or
Belgium. Talking about Croatia, or are you talking about Belgium yesterday?
Belgium yesterday. Well, that's the game I watched. Doku, KDB were like they scored one, and they for the next 70 minutes they kept trying to score. Like they didn't sit back; they kept trying to
Well,
score and
Belgium,
running.
because that's a little. You're right, but Belgium are in that group where every team is on 3 points now, and goal
That's true.
differential is
Then
going to
we'll
make a
talk about
huge
that
difference.
later. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair. But it's just a difference of mentality that I would like to see in England that I'm not seeing, and I have to blame the manager for that. And I guess we didn't say our X factor. I think the X factor will actually be Jordan Pickford because if they're going to play like this and they're going to go up one and then sit back, they're going to face a lot of shots on goal, and he's going to have a chance to be a hero.
I
That was
don't
what I
think.
thought.
I don't think this. Yeah, I don't think Pickford is a world class caliber goalie either. Honestly, he gives me tremendous anxiety whenever I'm watching him play.
Would you rather play Rambo? Because that's number
I don't.
two.
That's the thing. I don't know that England have a really great goalie at this point.
You like you said it, and made me just think about this, but you're right. You can't shoehorn all your stars into the team, and I think that's the difference between them and like Germany because Germany's playing. We talked about Andrich. Andrich is there so that the star player Cruz and Wirtz and Musiala above him can do whatever they want, and he's just there
Exactly.
to work. You need a mix. That's what international management is: mixing like laymen and workhorses with your superstars
Maybe
to create.
that's why he goes with Jared Bowen, actually, now that you're saying that, because Jared Bowen is kind of a workhorse type player.
Yeah, I would say that's 100% the reason, because he at Crystal Palace, right? He presses a
Yeah.
lot.
No,
And
he's at West Ham.
West Ham, sorry. Okay, so someone said like Crystal Palace had like 5 or 6 players that were available that all could press, and that's why like Eze is one of them. Like
Wharton, Eze,
Warden,
yeah.
like then he's not choosing to play them, and so I mean, let's move to surprises, because I think we hammered England pretty hard and deservedly, I would say. But okay, surprises. I had you go ahead first.
I have Slovenia. They were like my big surprise. They haven't won a match, but they've been really solid. I'd also say Group E as a whole, pretty surprising. Like Romania have been solid. It's a fun group to watch.
Group of death.
Yeah, I guess you would say a surprising group of death. I guess like Austria, they're kind of surprised, and then I guess like if we're getting to like the elite teams, yeah, Spain and Germany are the surprises.
I think if Austria having a chance to go through at after 2 games is a huge win. It has to be considered a major surprise, right? Come on.
Their form is really good heading into this tournament, though. I didn't realize that. Like, I think their loss to France was their first loss in like over 10 matches or something.
Damn. Okay. No, you mentioned that. I think a lot of people are talking about that.
Their manager is Austria's manager is Rafe, or the former Manchester. No, the former Manchester United manager. Ralph Rangnick.
Oh, Ragnick. Oh, yeah. And former Bayern. So he won the treble with Bayern.
There's a very big chance that England will play Austria in the round of 16, and a lot of people are hyper-focused on that. Like, it could be his chance to get some pretty great revenge.
So for me, I also go back to Group B, and I thought Ukraine, I mean, they are at the bottom. It looks better now, but after getting that win, but Ukraine losing the first game and then possibly like being on the outs, I thought they would at least compete for second place. I thought that was interesting.
That Romania game was very fun when Romania kind of put it on them, because it was like, what the fuck's going on?
The first couple of games were like a clusterfuck. I think things are now going to settle down for the second and third game for everyone, right? You'd expect that.
Yeah.
I think the Dutch dark horse, I would put them as my dark horse, probably like 6 or 7. I think I like, they're always like, they've a classically great team, and so I think they have a lot of good pieces. Van Dijk, all the way up to there's Gakpo. There's a lot of good players, like noticeable players that can win a game for you. And then Germany, Spain ahead of schedule, we talked about, and then England struggling. There's a second tier of teams right underneath the ones we spoke about. Anything on them before we kind of move to Copa? I put Belgium, Netherlands, Croatia, Italy there.
No, not really. Like, I don't really have anything on them. I did want to say, because I think you said what was your favorite thing to watch, and I just wanted to highlight one match. I think Georgia-Turkey was like my favorite match of the
that'd have been popping. I didn't see that one, but that'd been popping.
Unbelievable. There was no defense being played. It was just like back and forth chaos, very physical. It was the game of the tournament for me. Georgia, I hope they are able to like somehow get a result tomorrow. I think they play Portugal, so it's very unlikely, but it'd be very fun if Georgia were able to get a result against Portugal and maybe sneak in as one of the like 3 best teams.
I was Portugal,
best third place teams.
If I was Portugal, I would rest some key players and play some of your B players on the bench. I mean,
because Portugal are guaranteed the top spot, right?
I don't know if they're guaranteed the top spot if they lose. I mean,
I think they are, because they beat Turkey
by 5. Yeah.
No, because it's head to head.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they are guaranteed. So yeah, rest everybody, let Georgia beat you, and then get one of the best third place spots, so we can have more Georgia.
Yeah, always down for more Georgia. Okay. Anything else? Anything else on Euros? I think we really went in deep and covered most things, but overarching themes is France, England, probably our leaders. There's a crop of second teams that are playing really well. England is probably trending downwards, and the little guys are having a great tournament. Fair?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of parity. It's like the theme, I'd say.
Good. So tell me about Copa 2024. What were your first impressions? There's been a couple games.
I think we're talking about sloppy. I think this is even more sloppy. I think the field quality in a lot of the matches has not been great.
That shouldn't
Um,
happen, dude.
I,
It's a
I, I,
major continental tournament. Come on.
they're gonna have to figure it out for 2 years from now because this isn't gonna fly. I think I don't know. I don't want to be too negative. I'm very intrigued by this United States Panama match because Panama looked actually pretty good yesterday against Uruguay in the second half, whereas I thought the US people were kind of hyping up that win over Bolivia, and I didn't think they looked very good, honestly. Um, they could have maybe had a few more goals, but I think Bolivia also could have had a few goals. And somebody who watches a lot of South American qualification for a World Cup, Bolivia have not been very good. So it's I don't know. I think Pulisic obviously is very good. I think our boy
Matt Turner.
Olagun is very good.
Balogun, okay.
Yeah,
What
Balogun,
about
yeah.
McKennie? McKennie too.
Um,
You not a fan?
McKennie,
I
he's
didn't
pretty.
see
I mean,
anything.
he's good. Yeah, I'm a fan of his, but I don't know. We'll see. I think like the CONCACAF teams just need to not embarrass themselves. I feel like is the big theme of the tournament. Like, don't get blown out when you play against the CONMEBOL teams. And Canada, I thought, did a pretty good job of that in the first match, although I think Argentina were just kind of lollygagging and wasteful. It seems like it's
I
going to
liked
be
how
like,
Canada played, dude.
what?
I liked how Canada played. I like the
Very physically?
Davies is a good player, right?
Yeah, I like Davies a lot.
He
I probably
terrorized the
think
left.
I kind of like Davies more than I like McKennie, if we want to be honest, but
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but he's
But
Canadian,
yeah.
so it's not
No, I think
fair
he's
at
like,
all.
yeah, he's really, really good. So we'll see. It's hard to judge after one match. I'm curious if Brazil are gonna have like a come alive game tonight against Costa Rica, or if it's gonna
30
be another.
minutes, right?
Yeah, it starts in 30 minutes. Um, I feel like the games between the South American teams have been fun. Like Ecuador versus Venezuela was a banger. Ecuador, Ener Valencia made one of the like more horrific red card challenges that really hamstrung Ecuador after that, and people were calling him Ener Valencia, which I thought was very funny. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to go from Euros to watching Copa America. I feel like
I maybe I haven't watched it that closely, but I watched some of the U.S. game. I watched some of the Argentina, Canada, and I liked the product. It was entertaining to me.
it's
USA
entertaining in a different
USA
way. I'd say.
less so, but well, okay. Put it to me like this: we look at the FIFA World Rankings. I think only two teams are in the top 10 from South America. Right? You got
Brazil and Argentina.
Brazil and Argentina's one, and Brazil's 5 or 6.
Sounds right.
So, uh, is that going to hold true? Is there any other team in
I think
Copa that can make a
Uruguay.
run?
I think
Uruguay,
Uruguay have a really strong chance of.
Fede Valverde.
Yeah, I feel like Uruguay are like the second favorite, honestly, to me after Argentina.
Interesting.
I would
Okay,
have
tell
them
me
over
why.
Brazil. I think they have a very talented team. I think Bielsa, the coach, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He has them playing this like very fast-paced, energetic attack that you can see exhausts teams that they're playing against. I mean, they're the team that ended Argentina's win streak, so they do have to be taken pretty seriously.
Any key players, talismans to look out for? I
Well,
mentioned Fede, but anyone else?
obviously Darwin Nunez. He plays a lot
Okay,
better when he plays for Uruguay than he does for Liverpool. Although I think he's
sure.
still pretty good. Um, they have Suarez off the bench. They have. They're pretty. I
Luis
don't know.
Suarez. Did I hear that
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's
I
still
thought it's.
around, bro.
I know he's playing for Inter Miami, but I
He's
heard
playing
stories.
tremendously for Inter Miami, actually.
I heard stories that like he said by the end of my Barca days I couldn't walk and I was taking like painkillers just to walk and stuff. And I just when I heard that story, I thought like, okay, this guy is a guy who gave his legs to the game and is done. And then he goes to Inter Miami and he's just popping off. And now he's going.
He's
He's on
so
the
good.
he's playing in the Copa.
Like
All right, for sure.
Araujo is pretty good for Uruguay. You know.
It was very good. Yes, he is.
Um,
I
I think
dislike
they
him,
have.
but he's good.
Yeah, I think they have a pretty solid chance of winning the Copa. I would put their. I don't know. I don't know what the odds are. I'm sure it's Argentina 1, Brazil 2 by betting odds, but I do like Uruguay's chances.
So
And then think like Colombia maybe are like a dark horse. I'm not sure if anybody else out of those four. Maybe the U.S. somehow if they get some home cooking or like energy. Yeah, I don't
Even the
think it'll
most
be.
patriotic brother wouldn't say that. I feel. Come
I
on, man.
don't think it's gonna be Mexico or yeah, because Mexico barely beat Jamaica. That didn't seem like I didn't catch that. I was at the wedding, but from what I read, it
So,
didn't seem like the most inspiring result.
so then the last question I have for Copa is, why are you zagging on Brazil?
Because
But
they've
maybe
been
not like
ass.
why? Why
They've been
specifically? Why specifically though?
they don't seem they have the best player in the world and everybody else they just seem to be they don't seem to have a good team spirit. The federation seems to be like in disarray. Every time I watch them, it's very unpleasant to watch. It's not the beautiful game. It's no whatever yeah, no jugo bonito or whatever they say. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's really it's been going back since the start of this World Cup qualification. Like they just have no cohesion. Um I mean, when you're losing to Venezuela, like that is probably the most alarming thing imaginable. Uh, it's gonna, and they drew the U.S. in their final warm-up match. I don't know. It would shock me if Brazil came out and I don't know. I don't even know if they're gonna make the final just because they look. That's why I'm curious about tonight. Uh, Nothing makes me happier than Brazil sucking as an Argentina fan, but this
Sure.
does feel like the worst period in Brazil football.
So what
Like they're not even fun to watch.
when I see that this is for every like international team. When I see like clearly players who are playing the best during the season or like multiple seasons not to get into the team or not even get a whiff of the team, that just reeks of politics. And when the politics start to like take hold in international football, I think that's when teams go south. Gabriel was been the best Premier League left center back for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a whiff till now. Like I don't know what's happening. Like is he even going to play tomorrow? I don't know.
Today, let's see. The
Or
lineup should
today,
be
yeah,
out
today.
now.
Sorry, in 30 minutes.
Yeah, let's see if the lineups are out, and I'll tell you. No, he is not starting.
Come on. You're gonna start Marquinhos and who?
Marquinhos, Militao. Yeah,
I think you got to go Militao, Gabriel, dude. I don't know.
I would agree with that. Martinelli's not starting either.
But yeah, Martinelli, I can see as being your
I can
spark
too.
plug. Yeah, Vinny has to play in his preferred position, but I don't know.
It is a solid squad when I look at it, but I don't know.
Who's playing in the middle of the park?
It is Paqueta.
Okay,
Rafinha on the
fresh off
left.
his gambling's chill in Brazil.
Yeah,
Apparently, I don't know. Okay,
Rodrigo on the right in the midfield. Yeah, I don't know.
I think
And
Rafinha or Rodrigo is on the right.
I might have that reversed.
I think their dependence on Rafinha will backfire because I don't think
Probably.
that's my thing. I play Vinny centrally, let him roam around and do it as he free will, and then pack him before with like runners and just let them run. That's how I play it. But what do I know? Okay. Anything else for Copa? Anything else that we should care about? Be on the lookout for, or did we kind of hit everything?
I think we nailed pretty much everything. Yeah, should be a very fun week. I think knockout stage starts next week for Euros, so or next this Saturday. So yeah, should be fun.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I have one more question. Player of the tournament. Who's going to be the player of the tournament in Euros? Who's going to be the player of the tournament in Copa?
Mbappe and Messi. It's a very easy one.
Okay. I'm gonna go Musiala.
Oh, I could see Musiala. He's been really good so
Musiala in
far.
the Euros,
Yeah,
and I think McAllister.
I love McAllister, so I'd be happy with that.
He's
I
finally
just feel like
playing
if
advanced and not playing a sitting role like he did in Liverpool. Like he had to do in Liverpool. So now he can actually go and score and do dang things, and I think he'll pop up.
I just think if Argentina do win Copa, it's going to be Messi because
Even if he doesn't score that much.
yes, he'll probably have
damn
assists.
it.
Don't you agree? Like it feels sure if he has like 0 goals, then okay. But
Is he like in his first? I saw some of the first game. But that's the thing with Messi. He just like sulks around, and then there's this moment of brilliance.
he was great. He just missed like his chances. He still was very good.
Okay. Yeah, I think
He had
you're
an
right.
assist also.
If he plays halfway decent, you're probably right. He's going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on to Bool or Bust top 5. Bring Brian. Hello, Brian. Welcome. Or as I should say, I've been watching this YouTube thing. Wagwan, brother.
What YouTube thing are you watching, dude?
It's hilarious, dude. Wagwan.
Yeah, I mean, I know what it is, but like, where
you know what Wagwan is, but who's saying Wagwan?
Bomblecut.
What are you watching? What are you watching? What are you watching?
There was this. There's this guy who like approaches Jamaican people, and he's like a comedidian, and he just
is he a white dude?
Yeah, he's a white dude. And he says like really off.
I think he actually is Jamaican.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
but then like he'll say something really busty, and they'll just start laughing, and then he'll ask them like to explain it or explain the joke, and then the smile fades. And it's just like it's really funny. I'll send it to you guys if you haven't seen it.
I've seen this guy before. It comes up on my clips sometimes that are like whatever the shorts.
Same.
You're welcome, Brian. You said you had a tough week. You have a release. I'm glad you can make it.
No, thanks for having me. Also, just like moving and stuff is kind of a pain, but I'm excited.
Back to LA. The Prince returns. Is that what's happening?
Yep.
The prodigal son.
Kind of a bust, though. Oh, actually, I'll wait, I guess.
No, please.
Wait for the segment, bro.
Oh, for sure.
I'll wait for the segment. I'll wait for
no busts out of turn.
Steves, you wanted to say something, right? You had something to say. You wanted to open something here. Is that?
Well, are we starting with the top 5s, or are we starting with the Bool or busts?
Starting with the Bool or busts.
All right, so I guess I'll go first. Wait, are you talking about when I was talking about the man I'm a big fan of online? That I've been watching his videos a lot.
You said you had some story to like that you wanted to like bring to Bool or bust. So I'm saying, do you want the
I don't think I have a story.
Okay,
I'll just go first since we're here.
Okay, fine.
I'll start with my Bools. Number one, just I think weddings are a Bool. I've realized weddings are like a Bool. They're basically Bool conventions where it's like people you haven't seen in a while. You go and you kick it with them, and it's just like a good solid Bool vibe essentially.
How was Jackson's?
Very fun. I'll say there's like a mini Bool in the wedding that he had a taco truck, and the taco truck was just like tremendous.
Sick.
Yeah,
nice.
Very, very good wedding. Very fun, very laid back.
Jackson's a great guy. Happy for him.
Good vibes. Yeah, very happy for him. Congratulations to Jackson and Morgan. Very fun wedding to be at. Then my second Bool, I'll just stick with 2 Bools this week, and I'll say there's this British English guy named I Am Tom Skinner, who I've been coming across a lot of his videos on Twitter, and then I just started following him on Instagram as a result, and he's just like this very upbeat, positive guy who I thought was playing a character, but I think he's actually just, this is who he is. And his big thing is he'll have a big plate of food in front of him, and he'll say something like, "Oh, lovely day, guys. Lovely Friday. We're all going to be outside, and we're going to be having a great day. So everybody just enjoy your day and work hard and get through it." And he has this big, he's like, and as he'll talk about his plate, like, "I have this big bangers and mash dinner in front of me, and it's going to be great. And as you know, I don't look when I pour." And he just pours a huge amount of gravy. He says, "Because I am the absolute governor." And it's like one of my favorite things. Yeah, and then at the end, he'll just say, "Oh, bosh." And I find them to be very addictive. And I don't know much about the guy. I feel like I found out he was a contestant on The Apprentice and got kicked off for some reason. So he might not be the greatest guy, but I'm a fan of Tom Skinner, and I'd recommend going and watching his videos. They're pretty addictive.
There's quite a lane for these like positivity eaters, like Badland Chugs. You remember Badland Chugs?
Oh no, I do remember Badland Chugs. That's not great.
Who is that?
He used to like drink huge things of soda in one gulp.
Like three extra large Slurpees. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Like eats it. He's like,
oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about.
I think he's a competitive eater.
Oh, was he?
I believe he is. Badlands is the dude who raps his intro as he comes out for the 4th of July hot dog contest every year.
Oh, damn, really?
Yeah.
I kind of look up a video of that, but my question is, how does your body process that much sugar at one time?
I don't think
it does. Yeah.
It just goes out. You just piss it out? Is that what happens?
I don't know what happens. It's probably not good.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
stored as
We need
fat,
Dr. Ka. Dr.
probably,
Ka. Call in Dr. Ka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
damaging your, I don't know, liver and kidneys or something. I have no idea, man.
That's terrible, but okay. But he's
Um,
he's happy, so
yeah.
kudos to him. Sorry, Steve, I
Then
interrupted.
no, you're good. And then I just have 2 busts this week. I guess one of them, back pain. Like, I got a pretty sore back, and it's from the drive out to Ventura for the wedding, and then sleeping in a hotel bed. Like, just kind of was paralyzed when I woke up on Saturday morning and had to like do a bunch of stretching to try to get it right. And this dovetails into my ultimate bust of the week, which is Caltrans. I feel like Caltrans really needs to get their act together. There was construction in like so many different spots as I was driving down to Ventura. Um, I don't know how you don't coordinate better. There was traffic, and I left pretty late, like at numerous points where it was just like stop and go. And I was just like, "Oh, why is this
Dude.
happening?" And then I passed, and it's like, oh, there's just like massive fucking construction and a lane shut down. And it's just like, not, you can't do construction everywhere all at once because you're creating this like massive congestion clusterfuck. And we don't have good public transport in the state. So yeah, Caltrans and just probably one of the all-time busts, I would say. Really poor.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's like there's always rumblings that they're going to improve it, but it never has and it never will.
We
No.
all know why.
You
We
know
all
what I
know
mean?
why. Big car is lining their pockets, dude. They're unethical. That's why.
Big car.
It's awful.
Big car. Fair enough, Steve. So any more?
No, that's
Solid
it.
pools and busts from you. Brian, you want to go or should I?
There you go.
Okay.
Got a couple. The first one is I realized recently that there's a restaurant called Zhang Liang Malatang. It's like
Interesting.
a hot pot. You kind of just like I don't understand Ashwin's hate for hot pot. I've already talked about this, but basically
Well,
you
the
just
hot pot is elite.
you put a lot of just like ingredients. It could be meat, veggies, whatever in a pot, and then you just give it to them. You sit down, they cook it, and then they give it to you. It was one of my favorite places in LA, and it was in K Town, and I realized there was just one in Irvine. So
Oh, there
like,
is?
yeah, it's super dank. It's on Jeffrey, so I'd be down
For
to go
sure.
at some point. Yeah, I've been, and it's dank, and I'd like be down to go again, honestly. So that is first Bool. Second Bool is like moving to LA. Pretty excited. Just overall, just chill. But what I really wanted to use that for was a mechanism to actually tie into a bust. Is that even though I'm excited to move into my new apartment, I had not, and I like my apartment. It's like in downtown Culver. It's pretty comfortable. I had not considered
Furniture?
when I was what?
You haven't considered buying furniture? Is that it, Brian?
No. I got furniture. We're good. It's still from my last time. I didn't consider AC at all.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so it is a little bit of an older building, and like it's good price and everything, and so I like the apartment. It's pretty nice, but because it is a little bit of an older building, I didn't consider AC at all. So I think I'll be fine. I'll just get like a portable AC, but I always just feel like, especially, and I didn't realize it until it was just pretty hot yesterday, and I was just like, oh fuck. And then I like looked up kind of just like details of my apartment, and I guess it's not within the housing laws that you need to supply AC, which
What
I guess
the
is
fuck?
Yeah.
I guess makes you have to supply heating, but you don't have to supply AC, which is fucking crazy. I mean, it has fans, it just doesn't have like AC.
That's wild
So
for California.
yeah.
You gotta rough it out for like 5 months out of the year, I think.
Not even. I don't even think.
Maybe four,
Yeah,
right?
it's also
From
West
like
LA, so I'm not like as concerned. It doesn't get
July
as
to
hot.
like October, and then you're
Yeah,
fine.
I think that's kind of like the core areas I'll be kind of busty about. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna get like a portable AC. The ones that just kind of
Smart,
like
yeah.
attach to a window. So
You'll be
Steve's,
fine then.
Steve's classic, yeah.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Overall, it shouldn't be a huge problem. But when it occurred to me, I was like, dude, like what the fuck, man. But
Timing
I
is
said
bad for sure.
no AC is huge bust. And then my other bust was like just happy that we're releasing this thing, but it's kind of like a kind of shit show of people scrambling, a lot of kind of band-aid fixes, and I think we're moving in the right direction. It's not the fault of anybody, but it's just kind of like the nature of work, I guess. When you put something out in the wild, people start freaking the fuck out, and it's happening. So, that's my other bust. But I mean, overall, chill.
Is this your ticketing app you were talking about?
Yeah.
All right. So, and is it for this virtual or just for real stadiums and arenas too?
This one's just for ours right now, but obviously, like, we're trying to like scale it and everything.
I'm excited to see it. Yeah. Okay. To me, I'll start with the first pool. Is Andrew and I went to Yamava. Deep in Ontario, San Bernardino area, and it's crazy, dude. It was packed.
Really?
It was packed. It was
Oh.
like there was a line to get in. Like
Damn.
every single thing, like almost every slot was filled, and it's like this huge complex. It's literally, if you're inside, you wouldn't know it's not Vegas. And I think that's the overarching theme I have, is like, once you're in the casino, you can delude yourself to think that, oh, okay, I'm kind of in Vegas light and I'm doing the same things, and you actually get better payouts for something. So I understand why it's like popping. But yeah, won some money, had some drinks. It's a chill area. It's just
so does everybody else that's there convince themselves that they are in Vegas, Ashwin.
Yeah.
Everybody there is actually feeling the same thing, dude.
Yeah. I would say it's 70% of the experience in Vegas. 60 to 70% of the experience in Vegas. Which is fair, I think.
Well, I think that's fair, but that, I think, like, it was Arjun brought it up. Like, a lot of the times we've gone, we've kind of gutsed it out at, like, I mean, which leads in the top 5 when we get there, but like some of the lesser hotels, I think, like, to get true Vegas experience, it's like maybe just got to start going to the nicer ones, honestly, to get like a true, really nice Vegas experience.
Yeah. And my thing is, like, also at some point, can't be going like many bros to the room, get your own room at some point. Like, then it kind of loses this flavor too, because like that's part of the fun, is just like getting in a room and like drinking or pre-gaming for hours.
We can't do
hours.
that. We just don't have to.
So yeah, that's true.
We don't have to musk in the
or
room,
get a suite. Yeah, or like someone sleeping on the floor, and like, you wake up and you step over somebody.
In the room, dude.
I think you have to alternate.
I've been on the wave of like, I'm down, whatever, to just get my own room for a while now, dude. So
yeah, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yamava. I guess a side corollary bust is that when you and I went to Big Al's, Brian, it didn't seem that far, but yesterday in the heat, and then plus going deeper into like San Bernardino, it's pretty fucking deep where Andrew lives. Especially like, he's not in next to Corona side, he's like next to the Rancho Cucamonga, Fontana side, and it's pretty deep. I did not enjoy the drive, but
through the mountains.
Yeah, basically at the base of the mountains. Yeah. Bool is, so I think I told you this, Brian, but like, I use Steam for my online gaming experience, and I recently picked up a couple of new launchers for whatever reason. I think the EA FC is on EA naturally, Sebastian, and then Epic. I don't know why I picked up Epic, but Epic is actually a very good online gaming thing. They gave a lot of stuff for free. When I compared the prices, it was significantly less. I got a game, Borderlands 3, which is apparently like a classic. People like it. I've been playing. It's very fun for free. And because they need to like catch up to Steam, they're much more willing to give away things for cheap. So if you're one of those patient gamers, mind waiting for a little while, you can get a lot of stuff for free. So I think that's it. Alternatives to Steam, it's kind of a hassle because you have to open up all these different things, but ultimately it's good for the competition. So yeah, it's my Bool there. Let's move to top 5. And I mean, unless you have any other comments on that, then we can move to top 5. Yeah.
I have a quick Bool.
Sure.
I want to add. Congratulations to Arjun fucking having a kid.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. That just popped into my head. It's ushers in a new era for the boys, dude. Ushers in a new era for the boys. So that's a crazy. That's a crazy one, but I'm happy.
Arjun's leading the way. I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go back to degeneracy and top 5 Vegas casinos. So Arjun posted pictures in Vegas. I went to Yamava, so it just got me thinking. Out of all the hotels you stayed with your family and the bros and whoever else, what are your favorite Vegas casinos? And it can be a combination of the actual casino gaming experience and then also this sustained experience, whatever you prefer. Okay.
I guess
Anyone want to go first?
I'll go first. Yeah.
All right. See you.
So honorable mention, I just have Mandalay Bay.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. 5, I have the Venetian. I feel like it's like a very scenic, nice casino / hotel experience. 4, I have Aria. Aria, not so much for the gambling, but the rooms are just like absurdly nice, and yeah, one of the nicer hotels you can stay in. I'm not sure. I haven't been to the Aria in a while. I'm sure there's nicer ones now, but when I had stayed there, it was like top of the line. 3, I have Caesars. Probably my favorite, or probably my second favorite gambling casino. And I love their sports book. Just a very good vibe. 2, this is strictly for gambling because I don't think I've ever stayed there, but the Cosmopolitan. I just really like their blackjack tables. Good memories there, and I think they have like, I don't remember what day clubs attached to it, but I feel like it works out well when you arrive early for your day club and then you go and gamble in Cosmopolitan. It like transitions very well from what I recall. Jesse and I have had a few good times doing this.
He's got a weekend free.
What?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, and then 1 MGM Grand. Maybe not like the nicest, but I feel like all in all, it's like the best experience, gambling and room combined, plus for the price. I mean, and I'm just kind of biased. I think there's something about the MGM Grand that I'm quite fond of.
Who's next? Me or you, Brian?
I could go.
Yeah.
So I have an honorable mention for Caesars Palace because of Bacchanal, pretty much only.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bacchanal is great.
That just tends to be a place that you just have to go to, honestly, when you're in Vegas. But have to strategize these days. I think the last few times I've been with either you guys or whoever, you show up, you're like, you wait in line for so long and you're so damn hungry that you're just mashing food, and within 15 minutes you're like, I'm actually just fucking full. So like, gotta learn how to pace it out to actually kind of enjoy the full buffet and drink a little bit. Number 5, I have the Venetian. Similarly, I think it's just a nice hotel, honestly. Nice hotel to just chill, and it has that for me, when I think of going to Vegas and like, kind of a nice little scenic, I put scenic in quotes because it's, ultimately it's just a hotel. Like, I do think of the Venetian. Number 4, I have Mandalay Bay. This is because I've gone to Evo a couple times, the fighting game tournament, and for a very long time it was always hosted at Mandalay Bay. So I just have like good memories of kind of like, like the sweaty gamer vibe, but it's also kind of like not a bad hotel also, so it's just like a good mix. So in just terms of favorites, it definitely sticks out for me. I have MGM Grand at number 3. I think just like iconic. They host a lot of fights there, and I actually agree with Siege. Like, I just love gambling there.
Mayweather gets like money, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So like MGM a lot. It's just like kind of like a comfy hotel for me. I agree with what you say. It's not like crazy nice or anything like that, but very comfy hotel for me. So I like the MGM Grand. At number 2, I have the Luxor, dude.
No, dude.
Yes.
Only because of the memories with the boys, because that's basically fair. Where we've gone every single time on it for for a 10-year period. They always have the deal when we want to go. So there's no way I couldn't list it. Obviously we've had a lot of great times in Vegas, and it has that Luxor stale stench to it, dude.
I love it, dude. I love
it. that I have grown to love, I guess. It's actually not a terrible hotel, but
for the price, it's great.
Yeah. It's not a terrible hotel, but I will definitely caveat it. It's definitely because just we've gone so many times. And then number 1, Bellagio. I think it's like honestly the nicest. I mean, of the ones that I like the fountain. I think it's kind of a nice thing to do. It's always nice to walk around there. And then like the gambling area in Bellagio, I actually haven't gambled a lot, but to me it has the kind of like picturesque, almost movie-like quality of like the gambling floor that I do like a lot. And so maybe honestly, next time we go, I'd like to gamble a little bit more, but gamble a little bit more there. But then you walk around and then you see it's all like $100 minimums, and like, yeah, maybe I don't want to fulfill my dreams that much. but I do have the Bellagio at number one.
Bellagio was like this mythic thing for me when I was a kid, because my mom used to go for medical conferences every December.
For sure.
And so it was like, I think it was getting built, or like it was just opened at the time, and it was like, oh, this brand new 5-star hotel and stuff. And then we finally got to stay there once, and it was like so much nicer than all the other Vegas hotels. So it's like, I can understand why you. And they have all those, what's the flower gardens and stuff.
Yeah, the flower garden's very nice.
It's like very beautiful.
Yeah.
One comment about the Luxor. I will say, of all the like places we've stayed, the Luxor has the most convenient and best food option. I feel like that sandwich place right by the elevators is very good compared to a lot of other hotel food options.
And the food court, it was open, like some of it was open late. Like I feel like there's this overarching trend in Vegas that all these food places are no longer open after like 12.
You gotta go to New York. You can get food very late and it's not good.
But it shouldn't be like that, dude.
No, I agree.
Just because these companies want to save like a little bit of money on salaries and don't want to pay people through the night, us drunk people can't get food anywhere. That's the whole point of Vegas. It should be open 24/7.
Crazy.
Yeah, I've had a couple bad nights of like being like obviously sauced, but just like in shock that nothing's open and having to kind of stumble around in the heat to fucking Taco Bell or something like that. You know what I mean, or whatever.
We ate some awful ass food at the food court in MGM Grand last time we were there together. I feel like it was like.
Do you remember what it was?
No, I just remember like everything was closed except like this one place, and it was like really bad chicken.
Yeah, I vaguely remember.
And like cheese fries. It was like not good.
I think I do remember this.
Okay. To me, anything else on Brian's list? Solid list as always, Brian. What we should do is, let's say down the line we get a small viewer core. They have to vote on who's had the best top 5 list. And we have objective proof of whose is the best.
Yeah, we can't just have you saying, "Hey, yeah, your list sucks." No, your list is chill, dude.
Yeah.
I don't trust you guys. Playing God out here, dude.
No, that was not me. All of us together. What do you say?
It seems like Ashwin was trying to imply he has the best lists.
I mean, I think I'm the most widely applicable to the common man. I'm the common Joe.
Whatever that means, dude.
Okay, for sure. Okay, about list. So honorable mention would be Cosmo for the beautiful area to gamble with chandelier shit and stuff. But also right now it's like really central to a lot of food places that are open in the day, and like it's next to Planet Hollywood, all this like corridor of action. So Cosmo, and then New York is a nostalgic one. Like I mentioned, I would go to these conferences with my mom, and we brought my grandparents there like a couple times. I remember eating at the Chin Chins, the Chinese restaurant. I could eat there all the time. But yeah, and it's no longer there. I was very disappointed when I went last time, but also gambled there with I went with Andrew and stuff. It's a good place to gamble. Now to my list, number 5, Caesar's Palace, just great vibes. Steve's mentioned this word book, which is awesome. Good food and stuff. Number 4 is, I think, a kind of a curveball throw here, but Planet Hollywood.
Damn, that's a huge curveball.
But I think it's the best place to gamble, in my opinion.
Sure.
I could see that.
A myriad of factors, like variety of games, ambiance, like people. It just seemed like there was not a lot of pretentious people there. But number 3 is MGM. I guess MGM Mirage together, that kind of like corridor. We stayed at MGM, it was fine. I've stayed in Mirage a lot of times with my family. I used to love the Tigers when they were there. Siegfried and Roy, all that stuff. And it just seems like at the Mirage and MGM, you have like a continual line of like washed up artists who just come through. And so when you go there and you look up and you're like, oh, look, it's Carrot Top. Or look, it's like Shania Twain singing or something. And it just happens like it's quintessentially Vegas. That's why I like Mirage and MGM. It just seems like Vegas. Venetian number 2, stay there with my family again. I don't think I've stayed there with you guys. I think I think maybe once with UC, because I remember sitting there, a lot of people were sleeping on the couches, and it's cool because there's a suite area. Like there's always the two beds, and you walk down, and there's like this L couch that can sleep like 4 or 5 people.
Oh, yeah,
I think,
that kind of does sound familiar, actually.
yeah. So you can fit a lot of people. You can also get like adjoining rooms and stuff, and of course the gondola stuff, gelato. I love it, so it works well for me. Luxor at number 1. I don't think we should sneer at it. It was the central part of the Vegas coin
that's what I'm
exchange.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I know
If
from like the back of my
nostalgia,
head. I walk in, I know where everything is. I know where to get to. I know what elevator to take. I
True.
know what food court to go to. Like everything, where the tables are, like everything. The buffet.
if like nostalgia was a factor in the rankings, Luxor would have made my list. I just assumed
That's
that
fair.
we were going by present day.
No, that's fair. Honestly, I would consider staying there now, but I would want to get either like an upgraded room or something and see what. Okay, we're not going to get a $70 room for 4 people anymore. If we actually pay appropriate prices, what can you get at Luxor? But I know there's much better options. But I also took my college roommates there. Like, just good memories, and it's very convenient to be on one side of. It gives you perspective when you're on one end of the strip, because then you know, like, I can only go this one direction. Everything's one direction. You kind of don't get lost.
And it's not a bad hotel, honestly.
No, it's
for
pretty
what it
good
is.
for the price.
For what
It's
it
a bad
is.
hotel, Brian. Let's be honest.
But it's not.
It reeks. It has that reeky smell, and like, and recently, it reeks of ganj everywhere.
It's not like abhorrent. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's more on the budget side, but it's not like a terrible hotel.
I thought
It's not
so,
Circus Circus or Excalibur.
It's not Circus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, like
it's. I thought so, Brian, and I always like had this reverence because I'm like, oh, Egyptian theme, cool. Like I can understand it, but I've been these YouTube creators, and like there's Miss Las Vegas or whatever, and she just goes and like gives you review trips or like, oh, eat here at downtown Vegas, etc. And she did a top 5 worst list, and Luxor was on it. And apparently
no!
And then apparently a lot of the problems with like quality of the cleanliness in room when they do the blue light stuff, and like stinky smells during certain periods and stuff. It's not a high quality hotel. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Oh yeah, I'm always saying it was high quality.
We love it, but it's not high quality. So it's cheap as fuck. Come on.
People need to be appreciative of smoky smells in Vegas hotels because when we stayed at the MGM Park and there was no smoky smell, it just straight up smelled like fucking ass. Like 30 people. And people don't realize Vegas is very hot. If you don't have a smoky smell, you're going to smell BO and bad smelling people. And I'd much rather smell smoke than BO. So never complain about a smoky smell.
Great point. That's a great point, Sebastian. Like, imagine if like you're sitting next to 4 Baisabs coming off from the Punjab train. They're not
me. I didn't say that. That's you.
I can say it.
Everybody turn on your video and watch, so we know who said it, dude.
It was me, Ashwin, the Indian.
Out here, dude.
It was me, the Indian.
Jesus.
That's why
You're allowed to say it.
I'm allowed to say it. And they're not wearing their copious amounts of cologne. They'll stink up the casino. I can see what Sebastian's saying. You know, like,
it wasn't even just like, it was just in the middle of summer. I remember walking to the casino floor and being like, man, this is way worse than smoke.
Yeah. And to be completely clear, I love that smell when you walk into Luxor. It recognizes, my brain recognizes that I am now in Vegas when I smell that smell. Yeah. You know? Okay. Anything else on my list? We went long on this one. I'm sorry, but I thought it was
solid.
Oh, it's good. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Okay. To you, Brian.
Song of the week. Funnily enough, song of the week last time I did this was also Young Bae, but Young Bae again released another song called "Missing You, Baby," and it was the first song. And he was kind of like an innovator in future funk, and then he kind of tried to go mainstream, and became pretty popular. But in the midst of doing that, became a lot more poppy and EDM-y, which I respect. The guy's trying to make some money, but I just didn't really like his music as much at that time. But it seems like with some of these newer releases, especially with this one as well, that he's teasing like a return to his original sound. Nice. And so when I saw him post this and I listened to it, I was like, oh damn, like he's fucking back, dude. So the song is "Missing You, Baby" by Young Bae.
All right.
Nice.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Brian, for producing this episode. Thanks for Steve for doing that extra long Euro segment / Copa segment. I'm excited to follow both of those tournaments. We'll talk about it next week. All right, guys. Peace. Thanks for joining.
Peace.